All right, everyone. So we're reading an article here from The Gamer titled Black Ops 7 Season 1 has done almost nothing to help boost its lackluster player numbers. From the article, if you take a look at Black Ops 7's player numbers on SteamDB, both before and after the launch of Season 1, you'll see that it's only managed to bring a few thousand players at most on December 3rd. One day before the release of the season, Black Ops managed to hit a peak player count of 57,331. Today, one day after the launch of Season, Black Ops 7 has only managed to reach a peak player count of 62,229, which is an increase of roughly 5,000 players. Sure, that's a lot of people, but when compared to other games and even after other Call of Duty titles, it's an absolutely tiny increase for what was being billed as one of the biggest season launches the series had ever seen. Okay. So, when I read an article like this, it just really frustrates, I think, to see the way in which this series is continuing its downward trend. Let me be very clear, and I've said this time and time again. I've had a lot of fun with Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I'm still playing it, right now. I will be playing it for quite some time because I think it's a really good game in terms of the actual fun aspect of it. But I can't blame people who are just not happy with the series as a whole, especially as we continue to have problems with matchmaking. Here's the bottom line: if you're going to continue to go with skill based matchmaking, then get used to the player count you see right here. And we brought this up in our last video where there's a lot of talk because obviously Treyarch put out the post regarding the matchmaking changes and how they're saying that the skill-based matchmaking playlist is more popular than the regular matchmaking, right? The more going back to the old days style matchmaking. And I was thinking about it before we did the video, and I thought, I obviously don't think it's true what they're saying, but it wouldn't shock me if it's one of those things where it's true, but they're not telling you the whole truth. And what I mean by that is when you look at the player numbers on a Black Ops 7, when you look at a player count on Arc Raiders, when you look at a player count on Battlefield, what we know is Black Ops, at least at the launch of these things, didn't hit those peaks, right? In the sense of those games just launched to better fanfare. And it's almost like there is a world in which, because there's so many people that are done with the Call of Duty series, that the SBMM playlist looks a little bit better because all the people that like SBMM, even though it's a smaller amount, are now playing that mode. Because everybody who doesn't like it is just done with the game. So it's like you're technically maybe telling the truth, but that's only because there's less people playing. Now, do I think that's the case? No, but it wouldn't shock me if that actually was. And so that's why this frustrates me, because I want to see Call of Duty back to what we once had. That's what I want to see. I am so sick and tired of going onto YouTube and having to see Call of Duty videos that are all negative. You have all of these people who are making videos about Call of Duty that none of them actually like the series. None of them actually like it anymore. And these aren't people that are like, "Oh, I want to hate the series for clicks." There are people that want to love these games. And go back to our videos we did at the time of the Black Ops beta when they made this huge shift and they got rid of SBMM, right? Or they didn't get rid of it fully, but they were moving away from it, right? And they were making the main playlist non SBMM. And then it looked like we might have a game where there was no SBMM at all. And look at what those creators said and how they were celebrating and how they were happy and how it was like, oh my God, we might be heading somewhere. And even if this game wasn't the big one, right? Even if this wasn't going to go down as one of the best Call of Duty games of all time, at least you were beginning to get the community to take it seriously again and the community to return to the game. And then, about what was it, 2 days before the release of the game, they made an announcement about matchmaking. And from that point, this game seemingly has never recovered. It feels like all of that goodwill that was beginning to be built has been lost. And so I've made it very clear that you're not going to get these people back with PR stuff. You're not going to get these people back with massive seasons with all of this stuff. You're going to bring these people back when you show them that you are bringing back the Call of Duty that they know and love. Like I said, I'm having a ton of fun with this game. Okay. I think it's still fun. But when I look at how the campaign, like the big eye opener to me, because obviously, even though nostalgia exists, right, and you always have those rose colored glasses to looking to the past, right? Even though all of that exists, nostalgia exists, there still is a world in which you kind of forget how good some stuff was. And it didn't really click for me fully until I began, and I've said this in like every video we've done, so you guys are probably getting sick of hearing it, but it didn't fully click for me until I watched a retrospective on Call of Duty World at War. And in that retrospective, they showed the campaign and how you could basically learn, obviously, a base knowledge, but a decent amount about World War II just by playing through the campaign. And how in between missions they had, all these graphics that were showing you what was happening or what you were about to be playing. And I just thought, man, like compare that to what this product is now, where it's all so superficial. Like where is the above and beyond? They didn't have Call of Duty World at War. You didn't have to do that. You could have just put out a campaign, have the multiplayer fine, but they did it because there was like this like above and beyond view of the game, right? There was this, we have to keep outdoing ourselves. We have to put together a product that isn't just fun, but that is just overall like, oh my god, like this is going to be one of those games that just ages so well because of how good it is. And I always say I'm not one of these gamers who is, what are the graphics, right? The sound design, is it perfect? I'm someone, my test is very simple. When I boot up the game, is it fun? That's my test. Okay, so in that test, Black Ops 7 passes, but my problem is it's like barely passing, right? It isn't this thing where it's like, you know what, this game is just so addictive, like World at War, where you just kind of get lost in it. You know, it doesn't have that, and there just feels like there's always these moments, like even when I load up the game right on Steam, because we ended up buying it on the computer. I have it on Xbox too, actually. Kind of weirdly enough, I have both of them, but when you load it up and it's like the first thing is you're part of this big Call of Duty game thing where it's like you have all these different options, so you have to select that, and it just feels like there's all of this stuff that's in front of. But before I can actually get in and play, I'm doing all of this other stuff, and none of it is building to what we used to have. Like remember the start screens like in World at War, that kind of, they have the skull, I believe it was, with like the weapon, the sounds, all of that. So that's what I hope we get back. Thank you all for watching.